Hi, welcome to class. We're the only two right now, but the other ones will show up eventually, right? I hate my life. I hate my life. A Professor Sunrise Productions!
Hello class, Professor Sunrise here. In today's class we're taking a look at the replay analysis of me playing against Kashtira with of course Bystial control with a rocket engine, also known as Dragon Link, and I thought this is a very interesting replay for you, especially because I'm actually losing because of my own misplays, so we will just be going over those misplays, especially taking a look at win conditions, how to play around your win conditions, how to play into the opponent's win condition, beating your win condition, and stuff like that, so that you can always get those free wins if you have the ability to do so. So without further ado, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave some feedback down in the comment section below, and let's get right into the replay. So here we are in the replay up against King Progress with 981 rating. We win the rock, paper, scissors, so of course we elect to go first. Always a very good sign into the Kashtira matchup. Let's pause here and look at the opening hands. The opponent is on Fenrir, Unicorn, Terraforming, Big Bang, and Ash, and we have a Wyver Burster, Black Metal, Impermanence, Rebellion, and a Levianeer, so we have a pretty gassy hand. This one Ash will not be able to stop us. We go for the Black Metal 1, Striker Dragon 2. I always start with the Black Metal. It does play the best into a draw, and of course in this hand we don't have the ability to do so, but we could have used the Rebellion before. But getting two searches, in my opinion, is way better than getting the one Rebellion resolve. Worst case, we can always just summon the Rebellion out of the hand. But getting a Magnum here doesn't actually do anything for us if we get draws, so I'd rather get the two searches first and then do the Rebellion afterwards and play around a draw that way. So we go for the Red as Darkness Metal Dragon here, summoning the Black Metal. You could argue to go for a Wyver Burster here over the Black Metal, but this could always eat a hand trap. So I elected to do it like this. Probably if you want to play around Nibiru here, you could go for the Rebellion now, because you had 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth summon, and then we could have used the Rebellion here to force out a Nibiru already, but we don't really want to do that because we have Levianeer. That means we can go for full combo, make a seal, make a Savage, and afterwards summon the Levianeer and then trigger the Rebellion so that we can play around Nibiru the most effective way. So we just easily go here for the Red as Darkness Metal Dragon, summon the Black Metal, go into Romulus, go for the Ravine, and now we activate Rebellion here, and we get a Magnumid, and we use the Magnumid here on the Black Metal. Effect Magnumid, pretty standard, and we don't go for the Rebellion here either, because like I said, we go for the Seal, then we use the Ravine. Here's the question, do you hold the Imperm, or do you go for the Wyver Burster? I'm not 100% sure what the correct play here is. I decided to hit the Imperm, just because we have the Levianeer as well, and we have basically full combo here. And we don't really need an Imperm for that. I'd rather just have more plays the following turn, because we are already stopping our opponent so good with this hand that I don't really see the reason to go for another Imperm there. You could argue to hit the Boot Sector launch, but we already used the normal summon, so if this Epsilon would have resolved, we needed the Boot Sector 100%. But that's fine, Epsilon eats an Ash. That's at this point, it's just another hand trip basically, because we have the Levianeer. So if you get hand trapped and you can still resolve a Levianeer, it feels so rewarding, because it basically feels like you hand trap for 2. Because this is basically all you're trying to go for anyways, right? So we hit the Fenrir, that's very good for us, so the opponent is on only 2 plays there. We go for the Rebellion, effect Rebellion, get the Branded Beast, and we search a Jerusalem in the end phase, and the opponent is allowed to start their turn. They draw an Ash, so they only have 2 plays and they decided to admit defeat. Of course, not showing us what they are playing, but to be fair, Terraforming and Unicorn are not the worst into this matchup. We would have had 1 pop, and we would have probably bounced the field spell, and then popped the yeah, I guess. Yeah, we would have bounced the field spell and popped the Unicorn, so they wouldn't be able to play at all. I guess it makes sense in this regard then. So the opponent decides to go first here, and of course, against Kashtira going second, it can be quite hard. The opponent is on Theosis, Prosperity, Unicorn, and Lotus, and we don't have a non-engine card. They have full combo with Unicorn plus a pointer, so this is basically unwinnable for us, because even if we top deck out, they will have the pointer and we will just be losing. So they go for the standard play, search Birth, because let's pause here for a second. They search the Birth, of course, because of the Theosis. They go for Theosis, summon Fenrir, search Rise Hard, banish Big Bang. They can just go full combo here because they have Prosperity as well to attach with Rise Hard, and they have the pointer. Even if we have a nip, they still would have a pointer plus something of the Prosperity plus the follow up of Birth to be able to do quite nasty stuff. So they go for Prosperity here with the Arisat on board because they want to be able to get back like the stuff they banish here. In this case, probably the Goliath. They do play the Skull Knight as well. And if you can see here, they get a Judgment that is basically an auto loss for us. We cannot play around a Arisat here, and even if we top deck like our Imperm or Dark Ruler, stuff like that, we cannot really play. We didn't side in the Kaijus because we didn't know what the opponent was up to, so we just decided to admit defeat here. Go into the game 3. This is where the most interesting stuff will happen here. Our opening hand is super good. We have Anti-Spell, Quick Launch, Droll, Lubellion, and Chillhop Serpent. The opponent is on Gamma, Prosperity, Fenrir, Theosis, and Impermanence. So both of our hands are really, really strong. We basically both have like combo plus 2 non-engine cards. So this will definitely be a very interesting game. We decide to go for the Magnemite here. First, the Lubellion, of course. We have to do this because we want to get the Lubellion to the graveyard. And for the Chillhop Serpent, so that we actually have a starter. And here we go, Striker 1, Chillhop Serpent 2. Playing around a Gamma, hitting our stuff on the board is usually always the good play. They decide to Infinite Impermanence the Striker Dragon. That is a very weird choice. You can argue to do that if the opponent already conducted their normal summon. Getting rid of the Boot Sector Launch can be very good to get rid of a Savage. But the thing in current Dragon Link iterations is just that that the Rocket Engine is just there for a Savage anyways, right? So might as well hold the Savage, the Impermanent for the Savage. Because worst case, the opponent has a Quick Launch in their hand or a Tracer, depending on if they're normal or not, that they can still get to the Rocket Engine. So it was definitely a very bad misplay by my opponent's part here. We link off with Wyver Burster and Striker Dragon into Romulus, probably? No, yeah, into Romulus, because we want to get a Lubellion into the graveyard. So we search the Ravine here, and then here we have to decide what to pitch for the Ravine. We have Droll, we have Anti-Spell, we have Quick Launch, and we have Magnemite. Of course, the 2 engine pieces are never gonna get hit by the Ravine, so it's just between Droll and Anti-Spell. Because Anti-Spell is just slightly better against Kashtira. You can see they have 2 cards in hand there, 2 spells in hand there. I decided to go for the Anti-Spell and send a Lubellion here. Then we declare the Magnemite effect on the Wyver Burst. Declare effect Magnemite, and here we get hit by a Gamma. So that's slightly annoying, but we can definitely still make it work. We got 2 hand traps out of the opponent already. If the Imperm would have went on the Romulus there, we could have been in actual big trouble here, but we still have Quick Launch. With Quick Launch, we summon a Tracer, of course, and here we can have to think. We could just go Seal Past and protect the Anti-Spell from a Fenrir in battle phase, but that seems a little bad, and because we already went through 2 non-engine slots of the opponent, and we have a line into Borrowland, we decide to just chill on a Borrowland here. Borrowland is so hard for Kashtira to out here, and this is also the key aspect of this video, to see and know what your win condition will be. Because right now, you take a look, we have just the Borrowland basically, together with a regain for follow-up, because we can revive Magnemite off the Pisty, so that's pretty good, so we can get regain for follow-up. And then make a Borrowland here. With Borrowland, we can even revive one out of the graveyard so that we have a free body for next turn. I'm not 100% sure if this is the correct play, but I'm like 99% sure. So we have a recharger, which they cannot even run over. So even if they have like some weird out for Borrowland because they like impermed it and then they outed it by battle or by card effect, then we can revive the Borrowland. That was my reasoning. And we set the anti-spell and we pass. This Gamma and Driver gets banished, and because the opponent put it into the graveyard first, I didn't even recognize that, of course, we can trigger the Branded Regained here. That was on my part. I don't know if the opponent did that on extra. Probably not, because, anyways, this is not what the video is about. So, here the opponent opens the Rysard, which is like probably the best card they could have opened there. We activate the anti-spell, and now this is the most important part. We have to evaluate what our win condition is here, because at first I was like, okay, I will just make a Borrowland, because of course Kashtira has a very hard time outing it. But then once I was in the opponent's turn, I kind of forgot that thought and was like, okay, anti-spell will be the most important card here, because anti-spell is an auto win against that deck. So the opponent goes for Fenrir here. We don't trigger the regain here because we want to play around a potential talents later on if they out the anti-spell, and we only really need to trigger the regain once they have additional plays. So I still think this is the correct play. So here they go for the Fenrir, and because I think, okay, because Kashtira Rise Hard is a very solid pickup here, I really want to negate that, because with that they could go into a rank 7 and they could start to out the anti-spell, forcing me to use the Borrowland onto the rank 7. Because I don't want my anti-spell to get out, because I'm scared of the opponent being able to do a shit ton of plays. But the thought with that is that if the opponent outs the anti-spell and commits quite a little bit, especially with an XZs into that board already, we can quite easily just sit on the Borrowland and chills, because the only out they have for a Borrowland is a Zeus. And if we chain our Borrowland to the Zeus effect, and they will probably not get to have a Zeus with more materials because they will have to use their materials to out the anti-spell, we can quite effectively just win this off just the Borrowland, and we just don't really care about the anti-spell, and we even let the opponent play into that. But here I decided to actually negate the Fenrir because I was a little scared and I didn't think so far, and I get highly punished by that because the opponent actually top-decked Rysard. This is of course the Kashtira curse. They will always draw the perfect card against me, and I'm a little tilted by that, but that's just how it is right now. We can trigger the Regent here and search with Magnamite at the end phase, so we still have quite a good amount of resources there. Especially because they still have to out the Borrowland, right? But these resources will just get diminished now because they go for Rysard, of course, make it level 7, and then go into the Mind Hacker, and they can easily just run over Tracer here. Use the third effect of Mind Hacker, which I didn't know that existed, benching one card from our graveyard face down. Doesn't really matter at this point. Of course, Rebellion is a graveyard resource, but it's not the end of the world. And they can easily just make a Zeus here afterwards, after they use the Diablos to disrupt our graveyard. Where is it? There's the Zeus. They banished, they banished Dark out of the graveyard because it's a very good link climbing tool, of course. Zeus wiped the whole board, and then they activate Prosperity. So here they still even need to hit like. Basically, it's just Birth, which lets them play here. So they go for Prosperity. They hit the Birth. And of course, you could be like, the opponent was super lucky. Not only did they hard draw the top deck the Rysard, but they also have exactly what they need to play here. Hitting off the Prosperity, the Birth. The Theos, of course, doesn't matter. They can search that off the Unicorn. You could go for that one, be like, the opponent was super lucky, blah, 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 blah. But we had everything in our own hand after the opponent misplayed with that Imperm, which is so important because we did the fault of not identifying the win condition we had. And the win condition was definitely Borrowland and not anti-spell. Because if we just protect the Borrowland and wait with a Borrowland negate for the out they have for the Borrowland, the opponent cannot win this match. Which is why I really wanted to showcase you this, guys. The Kashtira player, of course, was lucky, like I said. Hitting the burst there, hitting the Rysard off the top is really lucky. But in the end, it comes down to what we do with our resources, not how lucky the opponent is. And if I waited with the Borrowland there for the opponent's Zeus, they can out the anti-spell. They can do that, sure. They can use Burst, they can use Theosis, they can do basically full combo, but they will never be able to out the Borrowland without a Zeus. And they only have one Zeus push basically, because if the opponent doesn't out the Borrowland this turn, they are dead next turn, because we will just OTK them basically with the Magnum at end phase search. So, hope you guys could learn something from this replay. It's very important to always look at your own mistakes before you even think about complaining about the opponent top decking like crazy, like the Kashtira played in this turn. But of course, fuck Kashtira. They always top deck the best against me. Just wanted to get it out here, but definitely take a look at your own mistakes first. Without further ado, class is dismissed. You guys are free to leave. Professor Sunreis out. Peace.